right, so most of you already know kind of what's going on. Mainly because of, or largely in part to, Nia Long being involved in the situation. Um, Most of you know who Nia Long is. Um, Ime Ime Udoka, Ime Udoka. Nia Long's fiance or husband, longtime fiance, have a kid together, children. I don't know if it's multiple kids, but I know they at least have one child together. He's been caught in a sex scandal with women from the Boston Celtics organization and has been suspended from the Celtics organization from coaching for the 2022-2023 NBA season. He's indefinitely suspended. They don't know if they're going to keep him or what they're going to do. They're going to tackle that decision at a later date. However, Udoka scandal is getting crazy. So what we're going to do today, we're going to look at some key discussion and key points people have to make on this scandal, and we're going to see what side of the fence we're going to land on. Meaning me personally, who I agree with. Personally, I feel like what's going on in this scandal is kind of unfair. Like, we shout for equality in America. So his life's being ruined. He's being plastered all over the internet. I feel like the women involved should be too. I'm just saying, how is it fair? This here is Kathleen Lynch, the wife of, I believe his name is Patrick Lynch, a finance manager for the Celtics. She's a team service manager, I believe, something along those lines. However, this is one of the women that Udoka is allegedly involved with against the organization's no fraternization policy. However, Udoka's the only one that's being what's the word I'm looking for? He's the only one receiving any type of punishment for this. The only one getting any type of disciplinary action. Nobody else involved. Now I would understand that method if it was like a against the will type of situation, but it looks like this was consensual. Every party involved knew what was going on, agreed to do or partake in activities of which known at the time was against the Celtics organization's policies. So everyone should be treated fairly when determining who's being disciplined or where disciplinary action is going to be handed out. It should all equally go together across the board. I mean, if you go somewhere with somebody and they commit a crime, you think that because you just were with them that you aren't going to get any time? Chances are 9 times out of 10 you're going to get some type of punishment too if you are with the person who's committing a crime. We go into a store together and I shoplift and I get caught and you're with me. Most cases you're going to get caught too, even if you didn't do anything or have anything to do with it. Especially people out here that's not snitching. So we're just going to put that one out there. So anyway, getting off topic. Basically, I say all that just to say that I believe the women involved should be stated as well as suspended and let known who it is to the public, as well as you let Udoka's business be publicly known as knowledge as well. Since that's public knowledge, whoever is involved should all be public knowledge. We're going to look at some points of views that I clearly know I disagree with. But I'm not even going to keep rapping. Let's just do it.
Obviously a difficult time to be speaking to you all. It's a time of concern and reflection and action. We have strong values at the Celtics, and we are doing our very best to uphold them here. As you know, Ime Udoka has been suspended for the upcoming season for breaking team rules. For privacy reasons, I won't be able to offer many additional facts or circumstances.
That's
around
crazy. I feel like, is that a contradiction? I don't know, cause you tell us he's been suspended for violating team policies, and then you tell us for privacy reasons you can't give us no more information. Why did you give us that? That should have been private as well.
What occurred and why the suspension is in place. I really have to leave you with the wording of our statement, which was admittedly fairly crisp. You might notice I have notes here. I don't think I've ever had notes at a press conference. I enjoy speaking ad lib, extemporaneously, and letting things share freely, but in this case, I really have to refer to the notes and stay within the bounds, and I have to break it to you that if you had the notes in front of you, you wouldn't learn all that much. So it's sort of that type of press conference. I'm sorry for that. It's privacy reasons for the people involved is the concern.
This is the part that I don't get. Privacy reasons for the people involved. None of this was considered to be private for Udoka. I don't get it. Like, none of this situation was considered private for him.
I can say a few things, and I have a few bullet points to add, and then Brad will have some words. I can say that as soon as we learned there was a potential situation, we immediately brought in a respected law firm to conduct
How
a
y'all
thorough
think they found out?
investigation and
Let me know in
impartial
the comments how y'all
investigation.
think they found out.
So that's the reason for the timing
Supposedly,
here.
Catherine
There were leaks,
Lynch's
by the way,
husband works there too.
Around that time. Obviously, we would have
think
nothing
he
to do with
found
that
out
and nothing
snitch?
to gain from that, and any insinuation about the leaks. We don't know where they come from. They're part of the NBA, as we all know in this room. But
Yeah, let me know. Let me know.
it's
how,
really
how
unfortunate,
it
and it's
happened, y'all.
unfortunate also that female staff members of the Celtics have been dragged into the public
y'all gotta
eye
let me know what y'all think.
unwillingly and inappropriately, and we take a strong stand against that and just regret it for them. It's really, really unfortunate and not necessary. I won't be referring to anybody else who might be involved here, again, for privacy reasons, and not going to get into the details of the conduct.
Bro, I won't be. Yo, what? That's crazy.
Dragged into the public eye.
Y'all
unwillingly
dragging
and
Udoka in the
inappropriately,
public eye.
and we take a strong stand against that.
He
and
didn't
just
do it by
regret
himself.
for them. It's really, really unfortunate and not necessary.
But it's necessary to drag him to the public
I won't
eye.
be referring to anybody else who might be involved here, again, for privacy reasons.
He's not referring to nobody else, y'all, for privacy reasons. But none of this was considered private for Udoka. That's what
And not going to get into the details of the conduct at issue.
or the conduct. You don't want us to know the conduct.
But I have just a couple more closing little remarks. Ime has personally told me in a private conversation, just
he
the general
personally told
theme
you in a
was,
private conversation that you're about to
I'd say,
disclose it.
acceptance and appreciation for how this has been handled. He can speak for himself on that, and in his release last night, he did speak to that, that he accepted this suspension. Brad and I have both met with the players. Brad can fill you in more on that, but I would say in general they are very concerned about this. It's not a welcome development, but they also, I felt, have energy and focus and
Hey, yo,
commitment
this
and
bull
drive
crazy, yo.
to really accomplish
I'm
great
telling
things
y'all,
hopefully
he
this
crazy.
season. So that's the commitment I'm feeling from the players, and that
Y'all see me pull
based
my
on
little bit of
last year
chain
and based
hair.
on everything we know about them, I think
Hey, yo, don't be
that
talking
commitment
about
will
my chain
be
hair, though.
fulfilled.
I know I ain't got a lot.
The
It took me
suspension
a few
is
years
for
to break
a
it.
season through June 30th, and we will make a determination at a later time about Ime's future with us, and that'll be discussed another time and has not been decided at this point.
I had an intimate.
I am
mean, it
concerned
looks
about
like
the
it's
situation and
consensual to
its
me.
impact
It looked
on
like
everybody in the
needs
Celtics
to be
organization.
Suspended, if you ask me.
And
Suspend them
I do
all.
hope this represents the beginning of a new chapter and a chance to turn the page and move forward with things to some extent resolved. And I am personally very confident in the people we have here, starting with my partner and head of basketball, Brad Stevens, and everybody on the staff and the roster and the training staff and the front office and in the business office of the Celtics. We're going to stand together as a family and we're going to move forward. And I'll turn it to Brad Stevens.
Let's go, Brad.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything to add from the standpoint of the, as Wick said, what can be
Wick
said
said a lot
about
of BS.
the violation. Ultimately, I would, reiterate that it was a long, thorough process, and obviously it's been a hard time. But I think the only thing that I would like to say is that I thought, and Wick mentioned it already. I thought, we have a lot of talented women in our organization, and
Let's stop it right there. I got a thought. All right, so now this thought is who might have leaked it. All right, so bear with me for a second. If you think you know who might have leaked it, let me know. Drop a comment. Let me know who you think might have leaked it, and maybe you're right. Who knows? But this is a theory that I have. So what I'm thinking is, like he just said, they got a lot of talented women in their organization. Let's say you were one of the women at their organization and you heard that somebody got suspended for having an intimate, consensual relationship with somebody else in the organization, and it's got out into the public. Do you want people to think that it could have possibly have been you? And if you don't want people to think that, what would you do to ensure people didn't think that? There's a little food for thought. Y'all think about that, and you let me know.
I thought yesterday was really hard on them, and I think that nobody can control Twitter speculation and rampant.
But y'all could have controlled it. The bullshit. Y'all could have controlled it if y'all had just said
I
who
do
it
think
was.
that we, as an
Y'all said
organization, have a responsibility to make sure we're there to support them now, because a lot of people were dragged unfairly into that.
Yo, they unfairly dragged Ime into it too because y'all put it out in the public. That's the whole reason that these women are dragged into it. Y'all making it seem like my man was out there by himself just, yeah. And these women were like, yeah, we want to see you do it, but we don't want to take part in it, because we want to stay concealed. Like, we want to be private. We don't want to be, I don't know if concealed was the right word, but you know what I'm trying to say? Like, they want to stay anonymous, I guess. Like, this is crazy. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me, like, how y'all could ruin this man's life and his whole reputation and everything, and for an act he did with others, but don't have the same type of disciplinary action for the other parties involved. This is crazy.
And so
I think it's sexist.
I would just add that.
Yeah, I said it. It's sexist.
And go from there. I know you'll probably have questions and comments, but I think that's important to address for them.
Take some questions.
Man, fudge dumb. That's it, man. We ain't gonna get no more into that. I just really wanted to hear what Wick and Brad had to say, and they really had to say some BS. Both of these gentlemen right here just said a bunch of BS. I don't care what nobody say. Tell us who the chicks was. Huh? Tell us who the 304 girls were. Huh? Let us know, you heard me? Like, come on, bro. All right. We got Malika Andrews here. She's very aggressive. I mean, she always been pretty dope, so. But from what I hear, this right here is just don't go in her favor. That's all I'm saying. So let's check this out.
Stephen A., with all due respect, this is not about pointing the finger. Stop. What became apparent to me in this press conference is that we do not have all of the information here, and it was frustrating to me that the Celtics declined to elaborate or to give more specifics about what exactly the rule breaking was that led us to this point. So that I just I want to get that out of the way first.
Bro.
But to answer your question, Molly, I think what stood out to me, I think what stood out to me is that Brad Stevens, he was upset. That's what stood out to me about what he termed rampant Twitter BS is the word that he used.
We
That
already talked
women
about that.
were unfairly dragged into this within the
Udoka was
Celtics
unfairly
organization. You
dragged
could see
into
that Brad Stevens was visibly
Everybody
upset
in it was
about this.
unfairly
And
dragged
I
into it.
also found that to be gross and unnecessary, that folks were bringing in the names and the images of women
Kathleen Lynch,
that
the
is
pictures
just
I
not
had
a
of
fact.
her.
That was purely speculation. And so to me, that is what
Is
stood
that
out.
speculation?
But
We don't
the
know.
Celtics as an organization.
We don't know. So it is speculation, which is true. Excuse me. But that's because the Celtics won't tell us who's involved. Tell us. We should know. We know Udoka is involved, but we know he wasn't by himself. This was a consensual act. Can we know, please?
Organization could have done more, and short of doing more ahead of this yesterday, they could have owned that responsibility in this
She
press
cute,
conference.
though.
I understand that there were
definitely cute.
legal parameters that they had to operate within for everybody involved, and I appreciate the fact that they brought in outside counsel and did a thorough organization, and I think that that is something that was clearly necessary in this situation. But the fact that it was able to go on all day, the fact that we are sitting here debating whether somebody else should have been suspended or not, we are not here, Stephen A., to further blame women. That is not why we are here.
All right, so I don't know where the further part comes from, because who out here blaming women for anything? I don't know nobody out here I don't know no guys. I don't know no niggas out here just blaming chicks for anything. I ain't even gonna say that, but I don't know no guys doing that. All right, so that's for starters. Secondly, why should we not name the women involved but name the man that's involved? As a feminist, I believe she's a feminist, right? You fought for equality, like you wanted it to be equal, so you should be fighting to equally know all the parties that were involved, like that they should be equally disciplined. That should be your fight. As a feminist, that should be your fight. That all the parties should receive the same disciplinary actions and take the same accountability for their actions. That should be your fight as a feminist in this situation. If you feel like you have to speak on this, you should be on the side of this should have equal punishment. And if Udoka has went viral over this, then so should the women. Why are y'all protecting them? Why couldn't y'all protect that man? What's the difference? What's the difference? It's because he's a man and they're women? If that's not the difference, then what's the difference? Why are they being protected? Why can't we protect Udoka? Can we get a protect Udoka on 3? I'm just curious.
First of all, let me be very clear. I don't appreciate where you're going with that. I'm not blaming anybody but Ime Udoka. He deserves, the fact of the matter is, I've said he deserved to be fired if they were going to fire him. If you're not going to fire him, then don't fire him.
I agree.
My issue is all of this being publicized. The point that I'm trying to make,
From the rip, his point is all of it being public. From the rip, that's the same thing I'm trying to say. Why is it that they made it public on his behalf, but trying to keep it private for the women? Like, it takes two to tango. You know what I mean? Like, I can't, look at this. Let me show you. You want to see me tango? Look at me. Look at me tango. Look at my tango by myself. I look stupid. This looks dumb. This looks real dumb. It takes two to tango. I did all that just to make that statement. It takes two to tango. In this case, maybe 3. We don't know. Because y'all won't tell us. Boston, tell us. Tell us. Tell us.
It's just
You
like
don't
you're
think
not
someone would
mentioning.
notice if Ime Udoka was not at-
Excuse me. I listened to you. You're the one telling me to stop on my show. It ain't happening.
Tell her.
Okay, that's number one. Number two, I've already said he deserves to be fired, or he deserves to be there and handle it internally and privately. If you're
Facts.
not going to handle it privately, if you're going to publicize it in that fashion, then obviously it provokes everybody wanting to know, okay, well, who are the parties involved? Well,
Right.
you have Amina Smith in Boston and other women
Logical.
pointing out the fact that there
Common
were
sense.
women who were wrongly implicated in all of this. It's a disservice to them. I didn't come out with the report about a consensual relationship. I didn't come out with the report ahead of time leaking that they were going to suspend him for the year. They did that.
Yep.
And my point is, considering how pervasive this kind of stuff has existed in professional sports for many years, my whole point
That's
is
not the
that,
only time this has
excuse
happened.
me, make sure that you handle it in the same fashion it has always been handled. You could have fired him,
Yep.
and then we could have speculated till the cows come home, but he's gone. But to keep him there, keep him employed, but in the same breath,
Because it's
suspend him for a
consensual.
year, then also that year is indefinite. That is the issue that I have. Nobody's trying to protect Ime Udoka, and certainly nobody is trying to protect, is to excoriate the women involved or anything like that.
Bro,
I'm talking
I'm trying
about
to
how things
excoriate-
of this matter are usually
Him with the
handled
words,
from an HR
expose.
perspective, from an organizational
Blast 'em.
perspective. That is not consistent with what we have seen throughout the years. That is the only point that I was trying to make. I'm not trying to attack anybody, and if anybody deserves to be attacked, it's Ime Udoka for putting himself in this position.
Facts, he did this to
I've made
himself,
that
though,
very clear.
bro. He really
I'm just
did.
talking
He did
about
that to
you got
himself.
owners and everybody
Can't
else.
nobody help him
They
right
know the
now,
kind of
like,
stuff that's
that
going
boy
on.
crazy.
You didn't say anything about anybody else. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about them. They didn't say anything about everybody else all the other times this stuff has happened. But now when it comes to him, it's all over the place.
Yeah,
That
why
is
did
my
they do
issue.
that?
That is my only issue.
I ain't want to pause it with his eyes closed like that, like he was high or something. Like he was fried. No, but that's the issue I got too. Like, why did y'all have to blast this man like that and put this all over the internet and then not treat the other people that did the same thing the same way? Like, that's crazy to me. It is really crazy to me. Like, yeah, we want to know who the chicks is that was involved. Some people might want to shoot they shot. Like, they see that they obviously aren't faithful. So if that's the case, like, some people want to shoot they shot. Let us know. If Kathleen Lynch wasn't involved, deepest apologies. But if you were involved, I mean, you hear rumors out that you are a part of it. So welcome. Welcome to the internet. Other than that, it's just Ime Udoka put himself in a tough spot, bro. Like, he cheated on Nia Long. Damn, I guess he ain't have a Love Jones. That was corny. But you understand where I'm going with that. It's just a tough situation, yo. But at the end of the day, that man messed up and he gotta live with that. So do the women. Therefore, they should be held accountable for their actions as well against the no fraternization policy that the Celtics have. So, with that said, everybody should be on the internet. Everybody should be suspended for the year indefinitely. And we all just go on about our business. Really nothing else to do but subscribe.